happened to my sculpture? Where is it today? Do I have it framed?
I don't think you probably lost it.
Close. Well, you're okay because my mother sold the press. All right. No, you're all right. Okay. We got some ropes here. Here you go, Don. Let's see. Here you go, Elizabeth. There you go, Alan. Okay, I'm going to give this one to Lyle. My rope is.
That's not fair, he owns a boat.
Okay, so you want on the rope?
He doesn't know the tag.
Hey, who's the first person who can tie a square knot? A so-called reef knot. Oh, that's it. Okay, if you blow that, $2 if you can't tie the knot, pass the rope on to the next person at your table. Okay. Come on. You want to do this? You probably don't. Okay, the next one is going to be a float hitch.
What?
That's good. Well, George,
Just trying to run your arms.
if it's not done by now, you're right. You're going to win $1. Come on, put it in. Okay, how about a real easy one? Okay. How about the old famous figure 8 knot? What's this knot for? Anybody know? Ron, what's the figure 8 knot for? That's right. Actually, it is a stopper. The idea is that you're sliding out square. Okay. All right, then put some pressure on. Okay, let's see a bow line.
Is that really cool? How do you
Let's have a look at it. It is one, yeah. What's happening, Angus? Come on.
Angus, you're a sculptor.
Around the tree, good stuff, and all that stuff. Okay. What's a bow line? What's a bow line used for? Okay, Don. Why is Angus's bow line no good for hanging anybody? That's right, it's stiff. So that's about it. Okay. How about a sheet bend? Sheet bend. Anybody know? Sheet as in sheet.
Very high and impressed.
I don't know.
You gonna get that? What's the sheet bend used for? Yvonne, what do you use this knot for? Sheet bend.
When do sheep sail?
It's used to attach 2 ropes of different thicknesses. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna need a volunteer from the audience. Okay. Okay. Stand here like this. Like this, like I am. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna tie this knot on Andrew here. Okay.
Did you get these ideas from the 50 Shades of Grey?
Why is that book about being so popular? We've rehearsed this.
Okay. What do you think this knot is?
Fashionable.
In a way, but it has a name. What do you think, Barry?
I don't know.
$1. It's $1, Barry. This is called the highwayman's hitch. Anybody know why it's called the highwayman's hitch? Well, okay, I'll tell you. Pretend that Andrew's the windowsill in the tavern, and upstairs is the I'm the highwayman. I can climb up this rope.
just came back from Fairmont, just a day before that big mudslide. I guess they were walking around up and down the creek there just a couple days, or the day before that. So, and my wife's uncle, Judy's brother, his condo was right on the corner where we saw a lot of the debris, and that went right through, and he had absolutely no damage to his condo. So I'll throw in a couple bucks.
I'll do a quick happy buck. My grandson Matthew was in his first graduating class after all the fires in Slave Lake. They came together and it was awesome. Just last weekend, they had their grade 12 graduation. I know I had my children and they had their children when we were 9 each. But anyway, it was awesome to see and hear the messages of hope and whatever that came out of such disaster last summer. Because not only did they have the fires, they had floods too.
Yes.
You know, through the summer.
Okay, so we'll move on to the speaker. I'd like to introduce AnnLisa, our international director, and speaking on River Valley Alliance, which I have no idea what. So, thanks.
So it's probably good, just, I was saying to Elizabeth, little me up for a small group, we don't have a speaker in. And everybody's off on holidays. So from nutrition to coaching to rec dev to culture to the River Valley, I kind of am a jack of all trades. And I sit on the River Valley Alliance Committee, which is an arm of the board of directors of the River Valley Alliance, of which our own Arlene Monahan is a brand new board member. And I was appointed by Parkland County to the committee last December, the Parkland County Council. It's a council committee. And the vision of the River Valley Alliance is to create a continuous River Valley park system in the Alberta Capital Region, from Devon through Parkland County, Leduc County, Edmonton, Strathcona County, Sturgeon County to Fort Saskatchewan. So we encompass that landmass there. And the advisory committee's role is to serve as ambassadors for the river. I always say we're the rah-rah river people. And its function is really just starting to form. So it's a very exciting time to be involved. And at our monthly meetings, we have presentations from relevant associations and societies that come to educate us about the river. The RVA does have an executive director and a secretary, and just recently hired a promotions person as well. And so we hear about other plans and visions for the River Valley, such as the Indigenous People's Art and Culture Coalition. So this is an additional report. We have 9 projects for ideal inclusion into the plan we're going to see. We have a Parks and Recreation Administrator from each of the 7 municipalities on our committee. And as there are projects occurring in each municipality, we hear updates monthly on progress on reclamation of lands, or how each of those individual projects are progressing. It's usually slow going, but progress is definitely being made. So even though Spruce Grove doesn't border on the river, I live just a couple of kilometers from the river, so it's very much ingrained in my childhood and my experience, and cross that Devon Bridge about 15 times a week going to dance school and groceries and whatever I do. We're all connected to it. And it can sometimes be something that people don't really think about and perhaps value as much as we should. So today, that's what I'm presenting about. It's very, very rare in North America to find a river through a city that's really so pristine and undeveloped, and we're really blessed with that. And there are many examples of other cities that have improperly developed their river. We see a lot of those examples in the States and in Eastern Canada as well. They've polluted it, and now they're trying to reclaim and fix it up and revitalize. So we're fortunate to be at the beginning of this wonderful journey, and we can protect the pristine area of the River Valley to ensure they remain the home to a wide range of wildlife and fauna, and at the same time we can enhance appropriate areas of the River Valley by improving access, developing amenities, and in doing so enhancing our quality of life. So it's got to be a real balancing act with preservation as well as enjoyment of the public. So the North Saskatchewan River has played a valuable role in the development of human history, and from its origin after the last ice age to the middle of the 20th century, the North Saskatchewan River has played a diverse and continual role as a major transportation and resource corridor. From about 1100 12,000 years ago, basically, to present, evidence can be found of human activity along the river. And Edmonton was born at the Rossdale Flats as a gathering place for Indigenous peoples 8 to 10,000 years ago, 8 to 10,000 years before the Europeans came. And it was a Pohonan, or a waiting place that was a center of trade, celebration, and ceremony. And the Flats are rich in history and stories. So if you're interested in learning more, there's tons of evolution of the river and the history there. There's good information on the RVA website. So imagine a journey or a path you could travel down and connect you and your children and your family to the history of Edmonton. So the Capital Region River Valley, as we see here, is actually 88 kilometers long. So encompassing those 7 municipalities. So from Devon to Fort Saskatchewan, and it is actually the longest urban parkway in North America. At 18,000 acres, it's one of the largest as well, and there's more than 22 parks, multiple trails in the system. And these facts are a source of pride, but what isn't known is that much of the river valley and its parks are disconnected. And that's a big challenge for the RVA, is how we reconnect. 40% of the land along the river is privately owned. And many areas are inaccessible except from the water. So there are significant challenges that we face with reclamation and making sure somehow that we can establish these connections and pathways and reclaiming that land. The steep banks rise over 30 meters from the North Saskatchewan River to the top of the bank. And there are 12 oxbows in the river as it flows through the Capital Region. And oxbows are U-shaped bends in the river that are formed when the river meanders from its main course. So if the river were straight, without oxbows, the river valley would be 122 kilometers long. Abundant wildlife, and we have very ecologically sensitive and beautiful areas, even just down where I live in the Woodbend Natural Area. We all heard about the gravel pit concern there a few years ago as well, which is just right down where I live, and we were just told yesterday actually at our RVA meeting that finally, hopefully that's dead. And so there's areas there that we really want to preserve. It's home to 275 wildlife species, and just learning, we had the Woodbend Conservation Society come in a couple months ago to learn about what is encompassed just in that little space. It's really miraculous and needs to be protected. So the River Valley Alliance goals are up there, basically to preserve, protect, enhance the river valley. It is one of the largest river valley parks in the world, and to create that legacy for generations to come. So the vision is to have the entire river valley linked and accessible to all, a green corridor that will be the defining symbol of Alberta's capital region. It was established in 1996, actually, with a small group of individuals, incorporated in 2003. It's actually a part-time corporation, nonprofit, charitable as well, governed, as I mentioned, by a board of directors with the 7 shareholder municipalities. On the board as well is 8 municipal councillors and 7 directors at large, plus a chair. The 7 shareholders, as I mentioned before, Town of Devon, Parkland County, Leduc, Edmonton, Strathcona, Sturgeon, and the City of Fort Saskatchewan. So, of course, our Mayor Rod Shagas is involved as a mayor. Councillor Joe Zadie sits on the board from Parkland County currently. So the plan of action, there's a wonderful plan of action that's also found on the website, and I'll show it a bit to you right now. It was developed after extensive consultation, had very, very positive public feedback, integrates the plans of all 7 municipalities, and really forms that blueprint. So the long-term goal is to develop that one continuous 88-kilometer trail system that will improve the quality of life, attract tourists, and new residents as well. So to build the park, the estimated cost is about $605 million, and then we have the Indigenous proposal, which adds another 35 or so million. So big financial goals there. Funds are being continually raised. The RVA is now starting a fundraising campaign as well for donations from individuals. I know in Parkland County we have a vision as well to create a trail system up from Prospectors Point to the back of the Botanic Gardens, which is where I live, right there. And we've been challenged by the county that we need to gain sponsorship for that as well. So, money is an issue when we're dealing with the vision of what we see coming. So the plan of action takes a detailed look at the 7 planning areas from west to east. So we'll just have a look one by one so you can get an idea. So the first segment is called the Gateway to the West, and it includes, that's the Mayor of Devon. Need her right now. There it is. So the dark green on the map there indicates the natural conservation areas that are already existing. The lighter green is where the River Valley Park would run. So you see in here, running down. And then we link up into that area is where I live. Existing trails are shown in a solid red. And then the broken trails, I can't even see it really from this angle. The broken red signifies where we would propose some trails to be made. And the stars are where proposed projects are. So we do have, I don't know if you've been down to the river, but on Parkland County side, there's Prospectors Point, which is basically a parking lot. And then on the other side is Voyageur Park, which is really beautiful. We're making enhancements to Prospectors Point, I should say. River Valley access has been severely diminished. Out in my area, you used to be able to go anywhere down, Virginia anywhere, and plop a canoe in the water and float down. We spent hours last summer trying to find an access point into the river, and it's pretty much impossible now because a lot of it is public or private land. And then just recently in the paper, if you've seen through the Range Road 23 pit, they call it, the Parkland County's just designated that as a day-use park, and that will create beautiful access because that is crown land, but right now it's being used as a big party place, but it's a beautiful, beautiful area. And you can pop your canoe in at Germania, I don't know where if you're familiar with that, down to Devon. It almost takes the entire day. So even though it takes you 10 to 15 minutes to drive it, it's a good 6 to 7 hour canoe ride. It's very nice. Okay. And that is Mayor Fisher. So Devon, we all know, is charming. It's rebranded as Bike Town, which is bringing a lot of economic development activity to the town. It got its start with the discovery of Leduc No. 1 oil well, which is celebrating an anniversary this summer. I don't remember which anniversary. It's a historic site, and Devon has the 2 parks. Prospectors Point, as I just mentioned, we had a River Day event where we tried to publicize all the way down the river what's going on, and we held a really neat event at Prospectors Point in June. And the prospectors came here to pan for gold during the gold rush, so we had some prospectors down there. My daughter got to try to get her 3 little pieces of gold. It takes about 20 minutes to get those little pieces, so they're very persistent. So this person is recreating the experience, which we just held, so it's lots of fun. So Leduc County has a considerable amount of the river valley actually on its northern border. 2 features are Shalom Park, which is a water ski park, and Rabbit Hill for downhill skiing and snowboarding, so those are actually down in that area. So Area 2 of the plan includes a vast wilderness area on the northern shores of the river in West Edmonton, and it contains the Edmonton West Natural Area and Big Island. Sorry, I tapped that too soon. So the RVA recognizes the importance of the wilderness and the natural area, and I mentioned the preservation of that, which I'm very passionate about, especially down in the area that we are in. It's very, very important. Area 3 is called Valley Attractions. So this is when we begin to move into Edmonton, and there's actually been some really good progress being made in Edmonton with their linkages and the footbridges, as well as Fort Edmonton Park, some development there as well. And a couple of the projects through the Indigenous Peoples Coalition have been guaranteed to proceed through Fort Edmonton as well as Shaw Conference Center. So it's a very popular destination. Everybody knows and sees people running through the river valley, and of course Fort Edmonton. The John Jansen Nature Center is located down there, the Valley Zoo and Laurier Park, and the White Mud Equine Center are all places that border on our river. This footbridge was just opened a couple weeks, I can't remember, I think what they said yesterday that was going to be opened, and it's been completed under the RVA Plan of Action, so that's very exciting. It basically allows people access to outdoor adventures on both sides of the river, so it actually crosses. And the RVA contributed $3.5 million to this project from funds received from the Alberta government. So that's really exciting. That just was launched the other day. Now it's really hard to see these maps. But this shows Edmonton City Centre. And the focus here is to foster better access and connections between the city and the river valley and across the banks of the river. Again, the green being the proposed linkages. Louise McKinney Riverfront Park. The city centre is packed with parks. This is one of them. And popular attractions like the Royal Alberta Museum, Government House, Mintark Conservatory, as well as the indoor and outdoor sport facilities such as those found at the Kinsman Park. So we already have quite a bit going on. We're just looking for linkages. The Valley Parks in proposed Area 5 includes the river valley in both Edmonton and Strathcona. So now we start to move down to Strathcona County. And Strathcona actually has a significant part of the river as well. So it shows this plan basically For this area, Area 6 shows all park amenities. They're linked through a comprehensive network of trails that wind throughout Strathcona County, and other River Valley features include the Legends Golf Course, the Biathlon Range, and the Sunridge Ski Area. And then lastly, Area 7 is called Valley Heritage for its rich history and attractions that celebrate them. The land on the west is in Sturgeon County and to the east of Fort Saskatchewan. So river access is a bit more limited in there, but they're very active participants in our RVA. And two of Alberta's earliest forts, Fort Edmonton and Fort Augustus, were built by rival fur trading companies, the Hudson's Bay Company and Northwest Company, near Lamoureux in what is now Sturgeon County. And Lamoureux was named for the family who founded the town and ran businesses there 150 years ago. And their descendants still live here, actually. And a historic church and cairns recognize the area's history. West River's Edge Pavilion is across from, so across the river is Fort Saskatchewan, and has many attractions and events, and they were just talking about a big, huge event they have coming up as well. Legacy Park, the Royal Mounted Police Barracks, a new replica of the original fort. So new recreational development includes Turner Park, it's a campground, it opened last year, and the West Recreation Area Pavilion opened in 2012. And I mentioned River Day already. That was lots of fun, and we really had some success this year promoting that down the river. We did the events in Voyager Park, as I said, and then all the way down. So just really with the purpose of trying to get awareness out about the River Valley Alliance, and as well as the beautiful river that we have in our area. So to learn more, this is a quick presentation really developed by a Rotarian that's on our board and our advisory committee. There is the plan of action on the website. We actually have a mobile app, which is pretty cool, on the River Valley Trail. I have a limited ability to answer questions, but anything that I don't know I can find out for you. And I put brochures on the table as well. There's some excellent maps of specific areas if you want to take part this summer and participate down the river. There's I believe a West Edmonton City Centre and an East Edmonton map. And to get involved, it's just really about sharing the word about the River Valley Alliance. I had no idea about it until I started on the committee, and I've become very, very passionate about preserving our river and developing it responsibly. River Day just passed, but this is a presentation presented or created just right before that. And visit it. We have great access in our area through Devon, and you've seen all the many points. And send us your stories and photos. As well, as I say, they're a registered charity. This really hasn't kicked off yet, but I think awareness is the main key for the RVA at this point. So that's about it. It's a quick, snappy little presentation, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer, but if not, thanks. Approximately, yeah. Yeah, and it's my understanding as well that money's been set aside within that for reclamation too. So it's really a partnership, and it's a very independent thing. And the monthly, they will contribute to the projects, but then each municipality is also responsible for their own projects. So the funding and how that all shakes out, I'm not too familiar with at the advisory committee level. At the board level, they make more of the financial decisions, but it is that continual hope that there will be more funds coming from the government in order to maintain. We had a presentation a couple months ago from, I think it was the North Saskatchewan Conservation Alliance, and they gave us a very in-depth picture of the health of the river. And they told us, and I hope that it is indeed true, that when it goes to Saskatchewan, the river valley water, the river water is actually tested for quality, and we have to maintain a certain standard. And the health of the river itself is back to where it was about 100 years ago. So there's really good progression and activity going in there. In terms of the projects and the funding and all of that kind of thing, it's very optimistic as well. So I left feeling much more positive, and sitting there every month hearing about that, we tend to think that it's just, you wonder what's going on. But it's Edmonton especially with their projects and also their focus on biodiversity and the environment. It's actually fairly impressive, even though the sprawl and the issues that we have with the city. It's nice to see the scientists they have engaged that are very, very passionate at high levels of administration in Edmonton, actually. So that's a kind of convoluted answer to the funding. I don't really know too much about that, other than I see a very positive picture from the funding.
There's been 50 million allotted from the federal government, just dotting the i's, crossing the t's on that, and a fairly big chunk from the province as well. And I think the key thing that's really exciting, the potential is there, it's not just the river valley, but if you get creative, or municipalities can get creative, just like that link to the Devonian Botanic Gardens. It isn't just the river valley, but things that are perpendicular to it that could link something of interest in the various municipalities to the river, so that it just isn't the riverbank itself. And I think that's, we had a speaker come there in the spring and talking about these huge cities in Philadelphia, whatever, and some of the stuff that they did, taking it perpendicular, away from the river, it really does add different dimensions, and especially for school linkages, for maybe a school, for instance, would be one. But I mean, there's lots of potential to get creative, and some of the money is there.
And that trail alone is going to cost $500,000, so just in the Parkland County area, never mind all the other, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
It never fails to amaze me about some things in and around Edmonton that you drive by, you never really think about. Certainly gives a lot to think about with the valley. And I'd like to thank you and Arlene for your work there on behalf of us. Thank you. For announcements, next week we have a vocational visit to the Rare Gem Bed and Breakfast, and I've got to get out an email for.
Yeah, we're having trouble getting that set. We went there last night for dinner for our Stony Plain committee meeting, and I tell you, I can't speak highly enough. It's Councillor Robert Turnercliffe from Stony Plain and his wife Shelley, and they have restored a Victorian era home. It's the floors we were standing on yesterday are 110 years old, into the most magnificent bed and breakfast I've ever seen in my life. And his wife is a cordon bleu chef, like a cook, and she served us the most delicious dinner last night. So we'll be treated to a stand-up lunch next week in the courtyard and a tour of their home. And I just want people to see it so we can spread the word. It's so wonderful. Yeah. The address will come out.
Yeah, I'll put out the email with the RSVP and that. Yes.
AnnLisa, can we bring guests?
Please do. Yeah, the more the better. They can hold, they were saying last night, like 90 stand up. So we will be standing and just kind of standing. Please do, yeah.
Andrew will come from this table, apparently you're staying overnight.
Good. You'll want to stay. I'm looking like a once a month. The rooms are like $135 with no tax because they're right under. Like, where do you go nowadays? You don't pay tax. And she sent me the bill for the food today. No tax.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. Barry, we have 4 people for
Yes.
flipping pancakes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. On this Saturday,
At the,
the elevator
At the elevator.
for the Ag Society, so if anybody else wants to show up, maybe get a hold of Barry.
8:30 to 11.
That'll be at 8:30 till 11, or come out and buy some pancakes, I guess. Support the Ag Society. And I think that'll do it for this week. So, we're going to be in a toast for Rotary.